Thank you. Mr. President, members, relatives, thank you for allowing me to speak here today. Relatives of the indigenous peoples of the Amazons, the Andes, thank you for allowing me to be here today. I speak on behalf of the Ponca people. Judy, Ajijialia, Ponca Abadi, Walujinga. I'm an elder woman from the Ponca Nation. I live in the occupied territory of Oklahoma, the United States. And I will tell you a few statistics, maybe, like Shannon did, and maybe a few statistics that I was watching from the relatives that have the scientific information that astounds me, that humankind can be so cruel and so stupid that we would not just say no loudly every time we come up against these corporations that we know have the intention and the disregard for life itself, for life in the waters, for life on the earth, for life in the lands and the roots, for life in the ones that run on four legs, for the life of those that walk on two, for the life of those in the air, the very air itself, and the waters itself. So I came here with thoughts that I wanted to share with you. Where I live in Oklahoma, this is a simple picture of the oil and the gas. Now, I don't have those slides, but you can see the red represents the oil wells, and the green, the gas, and the brown is the others that are there. And this fracking happened in our territory, which is a small territory of maybe 15 square miles that is checkerboarded by white farmers and ranchers who sell the earth at the nod of a head without thought for their own generations to come. They have allowed fracking. We didn't know what fracking was till I met Shannon. We didn't understand that anyone could break the bones of Mother Earth and suck from her life force for their own form of profit. But flares begin to show in our air. We didn't know what that meant, that suddenly there were lights everywhere across our lands. But the deaths began to multiply. The earth began to shake in a manner that's hard to describe. The largest man-made earthquake happened in Oklahoma in 2012. It was a 5.6 earthquake. We have never, ever, ever had earthquakes before. And in 2005, they began coincidentally at the same time as the fracking began. That earthquake was caused by fracking and injection wells, according to the United States Geological Survey people. We still didn't know what that meant to us. But you must understand, with the gas and oil community in Oklahoma, there is no regard for human life, much less the life of anything that sustains us here on our Mother Earth. So underneath the earth itself, where I live, the groundwater is 8 to 12 feet underneath. And it has got pipelines like this, piled one upon another. So what happens when the earth shakes? What happens when the fracking happens underneath those pipelines? What happens to the water? We know that this year, the Ponca people live where the Salt Fork Creek and the Arkansas River converge. The water table is 8 to 12 feet underneath the sandy earth there. What happens when this fracking happens underneath that? I'll tell you what happens. We die. It's that simple. We died. This year alone, in the Salt Creek River, where our people have noodled for catfish, that means you go down and you catch them by hand. Where our people hunt for the deer. Where our people grow their sacred food. We have had 3 fish kills just this summer. One of the fishermen showed me where the acid has eaten the paint off of the bottom of his boat. Now, just today, I hear Shannon tell me that it's acid that is coming out from that. We know that the injection wells, we know that the fracking is causing earthquakes. We know that the pipelines are shaking. We know that the deer have boils on them. We know that the fish's flesh is falling off of them. And we know in a community of 600 to 800, we're having a funeral a week where we live. We have 4-day ceremonies to take our people back to the earth. And for the first time in our history, we're resorting to cremation and no ceremonies because our people can't afford the feasts and the ways of the giveaways and the ways to take care of our people in the proper way anymore. So when you talk about profit and you look at the ways that your countries are being invaded by these same people, I'm here to tell you today from Camp-Horinek that lives in the midst of the fracking territories up there, that her people are dying. She herself died from cancer. That my brother Carter Camp last year had cancers of the liver and the kidneys and the lungs. That my sister died from autoimmune diseases, that my own husband is recovering from cancer at this moment, that our babies are being born with cancers, and that we can't fish, and we can't hunt, we can't grow, which says something about the Ponca people themselves. We're the endangered species. We are suffering from a genocidal process. But what about those that we love? What about those that grow from the earth? What about the earth herself as her bones are broken and she's sucked dry? What about those innocent ones that walk with 4 legs and the wings that fly through the poisoned air? Who speaks for the water? We take it for granted. We come over here and we drink it. But you better pray with it the next time you take that drink. You better pray for the breath that you have, that the poisons that are going into fracking aren't going into you. You better pray over that lunch that you have today, that the sacredness will continue, and that we may continue this walk on the red road of life. Because we're this close to being fracked to death. I ask for your help. I pray for your health. And I pray that you will hear the words that we give you today, and that you will help us in whatever way. The simplest way that I know is to say no. No. No more destruction. No more destruction. We will respect.